Welcome to the CIONET podcast. My name is Hendrik Dekkers. I'm here today with Claudio Balbo, who is a senior director and head of IT architecture at Intesa Sanpaolo in Milano, Italy. A very warm welcome, Claudio.
Thank you very much for hosting me. It will be, I'm sure, an interesting conversation. I'm excited to do that.
Claudio, you have a degree in computer science from the Torino University. You spent 23 years at Accenture, technology roles across financial services, different geographies. And for the past 7 years, you've been leading architecture evolution, cloud enablement, and AI adoption at Intesa Sanpaolo. And most recently, you've been at the center of the isytech transformation, one of the most ambitious core banking modernizations in Europe. Claudio, you've had quite a journey from consultancy to leading one of Europe's largest banking transformations. So if you had to pick one defining trait that runs through your career, the thing that really has shaped you and how you lead today, what would that be?
Well, the most I would say is that I always enjoyed a lot doing what I was doing. But I think it's a great luck for any professional if has the opportunity to do at work what he loves and always having fun. So across the 30 years, I always had really a lot of fun. I was able to travel around Europe. I met different cultures. So that's the best I would say.
Okay, super. And if you look back at your career, was there a moment early on that hinted that one day you would be driving a big transformation like this one?
Well, difficult to say one moment. For sure, the journey I did, the professional journey I did, always built experiences and knowledge that brought to the design of isytech, that helped actually to design isytech journey.
Okay. And so if you, well, maybe let's first start with some context. And so Intesa Sanpaolo is a big financial institute in Italy. Can you give us some context? How big is it? What kind of businesses are you in? And so on, so that we understand what we're talking about.
Yes, so Intesa Sanpaolo is by far the incumbent and the largest financial service group and banking group in Italy. We are serving almost 15 million customers. The bank is present in all the dimensions of the business that a bank has, including for insurance companies. So we have 4 banks covering different segments, capital market, investment banking, commercial banking. So it's really very diversified. The group also has a presence in almost 10 countries in East Europe. In some cases, also there is the largest bank in those countries.
Okay, and I understand more than 90,000 people that work there and around 9,000 people in IT as well. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we are almost 100,000 people overall employed in the group, and 9 to 10,000 are in the IT, are working in the IT. And the bank decided to do a large people investment on the IT because in the last 4 years, we have been hiring 2,000 people in Italy to reinforce and to grow the capability, to bring skilled talents, and also to work and to be able to lead and to drive the journey that we'll be talking about, which is tech.
Okay, super. Yeah, Let's talk about that. And in the past 3 years, you've led the design and the rollout of isytech, and it's really a new cloud-native core banking platform behind the greenfield Easy Bank, and it's now extending into Intesa Sanpaolo and its wealth management banks as well. Maybe if you had to pick one achievement from all this journey, and then we'll go into more detail, of course, but one achievement that you're most proud of, what would that be?
I would say that is the ability we had at the beginning to shape a journey that was strong enough to handle different changes that we had in the journey during these years, changes related to regulation and other decisions that the bank took. And second was that we had the ability to balance between driving innovation versus still making it feasible and let's say achievable. That was not a very easy balance, because of course we could have thought to a completely new information system, brand new, but that would have made probably the journey too complex to be implemented and achieved. And on the other side, to be too shy in bringing innovation and transformation. I think we found a very good balance that made bringing innovation to the system and to the architecture, but on the other side, making it feasible and achievable and implementable.
Okay, maybe we can go back for a moment to the time that it started. What was really the business spark that triggered this huge transformation program? I understand the investment is more than 600 million euros already.
Yes, so it started in the second half of 2021, when the bank was designing the industrial plan of the group for the period 2022 to 2025. So the plan is always almost ending in the next 3 months. At that time, the retail division decided that was interested and was planning to launch a new bank in the country, purely digital bank, to address a set of clients that were not fully covered by the traditional bank. And on the other side, also to be able to better serve a large part of clients that were in Intesa Sanpaolo, but have a full or already a full digital behavior. So that was the business trigger. And of course, this new digital bank was designed not also to be a new player in the market, but also as the place where to implement a set of new features, capabilities, service models that could then benefit also in the other banks we had in Italy. That was the business trigger. And together with the leadership of the group, we decided to use that opportunity to make EasyBank the first place where we were building and implementing the new core banking platform for the group, that then was planned to become the core banking platform for all the banks we have in Italy. That has been the moment, and this was announced then by the CEO in 2022 when the industrial plan was announced.
Yeah, what were the main or the core business objectives? Was it cost reduction? I mean, digitizing key processes, launching a new challenger bank. Can you list a little bit what the main business objectives were?
Well, you said the very important objectives that actually were the real objectives of the journey. The first was, as we said, the launch a new digital and challenger bank in the country. So position the bank in a position that was not recognized by the market. Second was to bring concrete savings to the group, because if you read the industrial plan that was announced, the investment was 600 million euro per year, overall in the investment of the journey. And the result, the saving expected started from the first year after the industrial plan were 800 million per year. So a very relevant cost saving. And the main driver was, of course, digitalization of processes, rethinking of the distribution, bringing more digital to how the bank operates. I can give you some examples. Onboarding process, for example. So in EasyBank, we implemented what we believe to be an excellent onboarding process, extremely straightforward. And this is the onboarding process that is born in EasyBank and that has been moved then and extended to the other banks in Italy. Second is, for example, mortgages. The journey has been creating a new capability with a full digital process for mortgage. And that was a process that was not present in the bank, and that also this, of course, is bringing digital transformation to the operations of the bank.
Okay, so investing more than 600 million to save 800 million a year. If you can realize that already, only that objective, then you already done a great job, right?
Yes, this was the plan that was announced. Yes, correct.
Okay. So then you have the big objectives, you have the big plan. So how do you start with something like that?
Well, of course, what the numbers we said are not only IT. If I see from the IT point of view, actually, this is really a foundation of the bank of the future, because we are moving and we have been moving from a core banking mainframe based, developed in the 80s, and then of course it has been extended, improved, fine-tuned, because actually it was managing the largest bank in the country. But on the other side, of course, it was on a legacy technology. If you look in the medium term, ability to manage and to handle that would have become a problem in the medium to long term future. What we have been doing, and let me also add another thing. isytech journey starts and builds its foundation to decisions and strategies that go back 2 years before. Because actually in the previous industrial plan, the bank put the basis for the isytech journey. First, moving from enterprise technologies to open source technologies. This is something that we start in 2018, 2019. Second, journey to cloud. At the beginning of 2021, we started our migration to the cloud, in our case, to Google Cloud, that has been selected at the end of 2020 at our preferred cloud vendor for this period. And so the fact that the moving to open source technology, moving to the cloud, we already had experiences, we already had ability, and we were considering it already mature in the skills and the operations of the bank. This gave let's say the trust that we would be able to do one step forward, which is moving also the core banking of the bank to those new technology stacks. Without what we have been doing before, it would have been very hard to go through isytech, because we wouldn't probably feel strong enough to go with this journey at that time.
Yeah. So you have the open source experience, you have the cloud experience. So that were the fundamentals really and that gave you the trust to build this new core banking system. But then you have the trust. So how do you make the plan? How do you decide on the architecture? How do you decide on the underlying tools that you're going to use? Maybe the off-the-shelf applications that you can integrate. How do you do that?
Yes, this still goes back to 2022, when we've been deciding to balance between market technologies and market products, where we didn't think at the time we had the time to implement in-house solutions, and also in some cases the skill to do it, because if you have a culture which is as we had, especially for the core system mainframe based, it's difficult that you think that you are able to build by your own AI throughput cloud technology and cloud solutions. So in some cases we went through products or market solutions, and we have been taking those. In other cases we went with in-house development in the areas where we felt to be on one side more able to implement, on the other side where we really wanted to have specific capabilities that the market was not providing.
Is there a way that you could estimate the percentage between buy ready-made solutions and develop your own code and integrate the whole together?
So if I think to the isytech specifically, I think it's a 40-60. 40 it's buy and 60 is make. If I look to the journey, actually what we saw, we were already thinking it at the beginning, but we saw it running, that a lot of the effort goes in the integration. So one effort is, of course, to create your own platform and to make it working, but then consider that we have 3,000 applications in the overall IT landscape of the group. And by the way, of course, the core is the core. So many of them are actually interacting with the core. And so adjusting all of them has been a very big effort. And I would say that also, and this is something that I think we did it good, is to balance also there the level of innovation on the surrounding applications, because we saw and we understood that there are some of them that are so strictly and with high throughput interacting with the core banking that we needed to transform also those systems, while there are many others that have lower throughput and that could remain in the technology they originally had. For example, on the mainframe. So today we have more than 100 applications still on the mainframe that are interacting with the new core banking in the cloud.
Okay. So you have your strategy, you have your fintech applications that you use, and then you start developing. And I mean, I understood you needed to recruit a lot of new people as well. Can you talk a little bit about the people side of the project?
Of course. As I told you at the beginning, the IT of the group grew by 2,000 people in Italy between 2022 and 2024. And of course, a relevant part of those 2,000 was dedicated to this program. So we created a sort of specific unit below the head of IT. And that unit created with, let's say, people already in the bank, plus resources that were hired from the market, was the unit that delivered the new platform. Let me also say that that hiring period show how much the brand of Intesa Sanpaolo is appealing and is positioned in the market, because the hiring, we were able to hire excellent talents, very good people, and also with, as I said, with demonstrating how the brand of Intesa Sanpaolo is in the market and also in the technology market.
Yeah. So I can imagine that integrating 2,000 new people and then the existing people that had to change roles as well, I can imagine. Can you talk a little bit about the changes that you had to make in the IT operating model?
We didn't do real changes in the operating model. Of course, there was a change in the culture, because when you add 2,000 people and you want, we also with the objective to reduce your dependency from external companies, from the traditional system integration. We are still working with them, but with a minor volume. Of course, is requiring the middle manager and the manager to change the mind, because then you become accountable to the actual delivery. You must lead the delivery team, and this has been probably from the operating model the bigger challenge we had. So to have to change, as said, the culture of the middle manager, saying now we have the resources, we have the capabilities, and we have to deliver by ourselves. This, of course, was not spread on all the projects of the company, because in any case, the volume of people was not enough. But in many areas, for example, in isytech, there are some areas where we said it's up to us to deliver, and we will deliver with former Intesa Sanpaolo plus the new talents that we hired.
Yeah, so could we say that you kind of insourced many of the functions again? I mean, and I see this in many companies nowadays, that because digital and IT is so core that they say we need to bring the people back in-house and control the product ownership, the project ownership at least, and major parts of development as well, right?
Correct. That has been the main rationale behind the decision. That, as said, it was a clear demonstration of the leadership of the company that IT was considered a core competence, because while overall the bank is gradually, slowly reducing the overall headcount, the decision to hire 2,000 people is a bit against the traditional direction of the headcount of the company. So it was a great demonstration of considering IT a core competence. As said, there is an objective of insourcing, but there is also an objective to created the next generation of the IT, because the company for a long period was not hiring. And for example, when I joined the company, I was in the age of 50 years old, and I was in the middle age of the IT. So of course, if you look forward 10 years, the risk was that the IT was almost disappearing. So there is a set of reasons. It's insourcing, it's bringing new capabilities that are building actually the IT of the future for the company.
Okay. Can you talk us a little bit through the development strategy and approach that you have? I mean, building a core banking application like this also means involving the business people at a certain moment, right? I mean, you have the core applications, but once you start looking at the customer-facing applications, but then it was a greenfield. So, I mean, where did you get the business people? Tell me a little bit about how do you make sure that business was involved enough in this development?
So one thing that worked very well is that the business leadership, of course, the business leadership and overall the business people were very involved. I found a strong commitment on the business side to make successful the overall initiative. And in addition, let me also add that there was always big transparency among the two parties. So, for example, there are regular stand-up meetings with IT and business involved. There are no things that are kept, secret or at least not transparent on one side to the others. And this is also helping to jointly address issues, because issues, complexities come. It's impossible to avoid them. And the fact that there is transparency and collaboration is helping to overcome them.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the different layers. Let's maybe talk about so we have the people, that is clear. We have the alignment with businesses, super important. Now you talked about this, this is a cloud native core banking system, but you already had the cloud experience in the company. But still, I mean, you selected one hyperscaler to do this on. But have you also kept portability across cloud providers as a concept in your approach?
Of course, cloud. Let's say portability among cloud has always been one of the North Stars of our strategy. And today, actually, I would say, except one specific case, all the workloads we have, in our case on Google Cloud, could be moved to the other hyperscalers. Of course, it's not something you do in one day, but technically, they can be brought and they can deploy to the other cloud providers. And if I look today we are more or less 50% of the workloads of the bank are in the cloud, 50% are running on-prem. Now that, if we want, and probably we will go above 50%, we will for sure go to a more multi-cloud balanced strategy, because there are a set of reasons. It's risk, it's commercial reasons, and the fact that we have been till now making choices of full compatibility among clouds for sure will enable this strategy.
Yeah, I also understand that dual run and parallel run is a core strategy. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, this is so. If you think to the core banking of a large bank, especially if you go to deposit current account, it's very difficult to test that with the traditional user test approach. Because huge volumes, huge combinations, you will not be able to say with the traditional UIT, yes, it works, we can go live. So the decision, the architecture we designed enable us to have a complete parallel run between what is happening in production and a separate instance with the new core banking. Of course, this was not applying EasyBank. EasyBank was greenfield. With EasyBank, we did the traditional test, but also the level of risk was pretty low because we started from 0 clients and we gradually grow. Today EasyBank has around 1 million clients. But if you think to the other banks, the volumes are too big to be tested with the traditional model. And today we have since 14 months today. Since 14 months, we have a full parallel run, which is using the production of the bank with its mainframe, actually as the test generation for a parallel environment. And we are comparing the results of the traditional, which is still the production, with the new core banking to verify that the new core banking is, from the performance point of view and from the functional point of view, behaving as expected. Okay. At the end, there is no user test for this part, which is something that you have not used because it's the most critical part of the bank, but you have the user test is coming from the production.
And at what moment can you decide we're going to switch now to the new platform and go completely live?
Of course, the decision will be driven by the fact that we see that we can perform in a production model in the parallel run. So when the new platform is aligned to 99.995 or 100% to the production, and you can do it with a stable behavior, you can control if there are issues, because sometimes there are, then you know that you are ready to go live.
You talked about the 3,000 different applications that run on the banking platform, and you moved a large number of them to already to new cloud applications. How did you decide which ones that you were going to move and which one would stay, maybe come later?
So there was a combination of elements. So first, we define a certain volume in euro, in that case, of consumption to be moved per year to the cloud. So the first driver was fill that consumption commitment.
Yeah.
Second was at the beginning when we started the migration, the region where we were migrating was in Germany. So there was a latency effect because, of course, we have our on-prem in Italy, in the northwest of Italy. The cloud region in Germany has a latency which is physics, you cannot avoid. So for the first 2 years, we've been selecting applications that were not latency aware, so we could move without creating issues in the operations. Then from the third year, when the region were built and available in Italy, then we started to move also applications that still had a latency, let's say, freedom, let me say, but not as much as when they were migrating in Germany. Third, we had some technology constraints because some technologies could not be moved for commercial reasons to the cloud. So the applications that were using those technologies just were out of the migration scope. Fourth was compatibility with business projects, because of course, if you have an application that is under strong business implementation because of business project, in that specific year, that application was not migrating in that year to avoid overlapping migration with business implementation. So the combination of all those factors built the migration plan. By the way, the migration plan was not defined name by name 5 years before. So we started with an ambition, and then in the second half of 1 year, we were planning what we were migrating in the following year, balancing all the things I told you before.
If we take a step back now, and you have now, and in a moment we'll talk about where we are right now, but what were the biggest challenges that you have encountered over the last 3 years? And let's maybe first talk about the biggest technology challenges, and then maybe about the business challenges.
Well, technology challenge, I would say, is rethink how your information system is built in a way that is, as said, sustainable, resilient, and that can, in any case, be implementable. So the balance between innovation and feasibility has been for sure a challenge. And then when you are there, to make it working, so to design the integration patterns in a way that are generalized, can be implemented in many places. You have different elements technically. First is the latency, because the mainframe, everything is more or less in memory. When you go out from the mainframe, you have a physical slowdown due to the fact that you go out, you have the network and so on. Second, the mainframe is managing on the platform way the logical unit of work. The data consistency is ensured by the platform. When you go out and you break in different microservices and components, you must make that manage applicable from the application point of view. Third, as we said, is test. How do you test? And that's when the dual run comes. So different challenges from that point of view were addressed.
Well, if we look back now, if you compare, also the mainframe has a lot of advantages over cloud as well, right?
It has a lot of advantages, yes. From the engineering point of view, it's really very powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why all the financial institutions are using still a lot, because it works.
So that were the technology challenges. If you look at the business challenges, what was the most important ones there?
Well, I would say that the most important business challenge has been when the regulator stopped the migration of a portion of clients from Intesa Sanpaolo to isybank. Because the original plan, that by the way was communicated and approved by the different stakeholders, also by the regulators, was that the bank was planning to migrate 4 to 5 million customers from Intesa Sanpaolo to isybank. And the reason was because we believe, and we still believe, that isybank has the right service model and distribution model for them, because they are clients that have plain vanilla products and they never go to the branch. So they are perfect for a digital bank. The migration was planned to be executed in 2 waves, a first wave of 500,000, a second wave of 4 million. At the end of the first wave, the regulators, for a set of reasons, asked us to change the migration approach and to migrate only the clients that directly approved the migration, while in the previous approach, we were not migrating the client that did not approve. So changing the pattern brought and reduced a lot the number of clients we were migrating. So that has been a strong challenge. And let me say that in any case, these, even if brought a rethinking of the strategy, on the other side, I think strengthened the strategy, because forced us to think a transformation journey that was involving the full segments of the bank, while initially we were thinking to address only the banking for not SMEs and corporate. So that shift actually, I think at the end is strengthening our journey and our strategy, even if at the beginning, of course, has been a moment that we had to rethink how to approach overall the journey, technically and also from the business point of view, of course.
Okay, so we had the initial objectives, to save money, to launch a new bank, to digitize a lot of the processes. If we now look at where we are today, are these objectives, were they achieved, and can you share some tangible results?
Well, if they are achieved, I would say let's wait the communication of the year results that the CEO will do. I would say that if I look technically, yes, they are achieved. So a relevant part of our information system moved, and important parts moved from the mainframe to the cloud. And as said, we are ready starting from next year to have a multi-cloud and hybrid strategy. And that's, of course, is building on what we have been doing till now.
Yeah, and the launch of isybank, was that a successful launch? Can you talk about that a bit?
The launch of isybank went very well. So let me say, we started operationally working on EasyBank, it was March 2022. The bank went live in January 2023 to a friends and family, so to a small set of customers. It was launched on the market in May 2023. So it took more or less less than 1 year to go live, and almost a bit more to have a market launch. If you take out the topic of the migration that we have been discussing before, the positioning of the bank in the country was very successful. So also the organic growth that was achieved, almost 500,000 customers became new clients of EasyBank, was very positive. So the EasyBank experience is extremely positive and was executed as planned, and we are very happy about that.
Okay. Maybe as kind of a summary of where we are today, what would you consider as the 3 critical success factors that made the delivery possible?
First, it's a step of a long strategy. That's the first I would say. As we said before, isytech is building on foundations that are coming from the 4 years before. So the first lesson learned I bring is think the IT is a journey that has to think in medium to long term and must keep a consistent strategy across the year. So there is a balance between being visionary and looking where the industry is going and where the technology is going. On the other side, be consistent in executing. Second, I would say when we started, there was a big discussions on how much our system was already elastic enough to handle a core banking no more on the mainframe. And there, I proposed, and actually, finally, I was approved by the leadership to put a latency, so a artificial latency, a sleep on the mainframe, on the core banking. This is, by the way, doing this in production of the largest bank in the country on Monday morning, which is the moment of the more critical of the information system, because it's the highest peak in terms of touch points and transactions. When we put it and we saw that it was actually working with the latency, with the artificial latency, it was much higher than the one we expected. This gave a strong confidence to all of us that the move to the core banking to the cloud was achievable, sustainable, and the information system we had was already elastic enough to handle that. This has been the second. So think 2 ways, sometimes also not traditional, to verify that your journey will be sustainable. And third, to me, is things on a multi-year journey, things will change because of the regulator, because of the market context. Many things can make change. You must have a journey, an architectural pattern and strategy that is strong enough to be able to manage and to address those changes. But you can feel them to be frustrating because are changing your plan. But on the other side, you can take the opportunity to make them to strengthen your journey instead of weakening it.
Yeah. So you have these impressive results to show for the accomplishments, the EasyBank that is launched, the different wealth management banks, the core application that is there, the hundreds of applications around it. If you look at the skills inside the company, the capabilities inside the company, besides the immediate results, what are the new long-term capabilities that isytech has really created?
Well, the long-term capabilities to be able, it reinforced the capability of the IT units to build systems that will be future-proof. So today we know that we can do it. We can make coexist legacy system, but still some of them are there. But I mean, in the medium term, some of them will be transformed. Some probably will not. With innovative stuff. So we were able to build and we created the technical capability to make these dual speed work together properly and with success. Because if you take EasyBank, for example, it never had, so brand new core banking, 1 million clients, it never had a real issue in production, which is, I mean, this is something surprising.
Okay. Could we talk a moment about the AI and the generative AI use in your banking applications today? I mean, was that a core design principle as well when you set up the new applications?
No, it was not. Also because when we started, AI didn't have the pervasivity and also the technologies we have today. What we did, especially during the implementation, starting from we go to 2023, when the LLM Gen AI technology started to become generally available and with the strengths that we all know, we decided to start the implementation of a in-house solution based on market LLM, so OpenAI and the other technologies, to increase the productivity and to augment the IT capabilities of the group. So we created a platform that we named GT Gen AI, GT because it stands for Group Technology, which is the name of the IT unit of the group. So GT Gen AI is a platform that is used from the business requirement, functional design down to test and application maintenance, that is leveraging Gen AI technology to increase and to augment the productivity of the IT activities we do, especially in the software delivery lifecycle. Of course, this was not planned at the beginning when we started because the technologies were not there. Today, it's spread to all our internal colleagues and also the main system integrators which are working with us on the projects are access and have full access to the platform.
Yeah.
Of course, the platform is designed on our technologies, is designed on our framework, is fully trained with the bank material. For example, we have been uploading more than 25,000 functional design, technical designs, so that our teams find the bank inside and do not have just generalistic training like the one you can find on the web on the traditional LLM.
Yeah. Now, Paolo, you're also responsible for AI adoption in the technology part of the group, I understand. Yes. Where do you see this? Where do you see this going? I mean, if you dream at night, are we gonna retire our developers, and in 5 years the systems just build themselves?
No, I don't think that will happen. It will be, it will be for sure an accelerator. It will, I think it will change the way we develop software and the professional skills we will need to have and we will have. We will move from, especially if you take in the coding, but in general, in all where there is a tangible deliverable in the SDLC, I think we will have our colleagues moving from writing things to writing instructions for machines to writing on one side. And on the other side, we will become more a reviewer of things developed by a machine rather than directly developing it. It's a balance. Of course, it's a change because the biggest risk you have is that you think that the technologies are perfect and are generating something that is bulletproof from the beginning, so that you push the button, you sit on the sofa, and the things are done. Actually, at least today, the things are not like that. But for sure, the type of activities and also the effort to do those will evolve and will change. This will be a strong cultural change in how we operate, very strong.
There will be a move from code engineering to prompt engineering and to code testing and verification and integration.
Yes.
And and probably therefore the productivity of our developers will dramatically, step by step, I assume, dramatically increase.
Correct.
Right?
That's the promise. Let me also say that on the other side, it will be a cultural shift in which terms. Very often, I remember when I was developing, when I was younger, I was feeling the coding something very artisanal. So something that I could, you build a painting, you do it properly. Only you do it like that. And actually, very often the developers feel like that. It's clear that the machine will not develop the code exactly as you would write, because it's a machine will be different. So also change a bit the mind, moving from being the painter like Van Gogh doing pixel by pixel to moving something that is taking something already work or can describe what you expect to have, and then be able to evaluate the quality of something that has been written by a machine. That will be a shift.
Yeah. Claudio, what would you say are the next big challenges and opportunity now for isytech? Where's the program going in the coming years?
Well, I would say first is to fully complete all the journey to cover all the banks with a full perimeter in Italy. The second will be to make the platform sustainable also for the banks that are outside Italy, because as I said, the bank has, when the group has a set of banks outside Italy. We will have one of the challenge will be to extract the best we have from isytech to make it available and also for the banks outside Italy. And it's we know that domestic context and cross-country context in the banking environment is a big challenge. So that will be an important step. And also, I would say a second one will be to continue in the journey, because there are still important pieces, important areas of our information system that are still very legacy. So it will be to design for the next industrial plan the continuation of the journey to tackle additional areas that we have not been addressing with isytech.
Yeah. Now let's talk a bit about the human side and your personal leadership in this program, Claudia. So and you've become a very, very effective leader of a huge program, but that also means that you have to step outside of your comfort zone on a regular basis. Can you maybe share an example where the isytech journey forced you to step outside of your comfort zone and what you learned from it?
Well, I think the biggest challenge, and also the nicest challenge, was at the beginning, when we've been designing the journey. We have been designing which architecture we were planning to implement, because of course there, as said, it was on one side we needed to design it to support the business strategy that was launch Easy Bank, do it in 1 year. And on the other side was to balance between transformation on the IT platform versus feasibility of implementing it in that time, and also in so that we could bring then to the other banks that we have in Italy. That was the nicest, and also from the let's say engineering point of view, was the nicest challenge.
Yeah. So a lot of success, but we all make our mistakes, and it's from our mistakes that we learn. So could you maybe share with us one of your most brilliant mistakes that you made in this program or in previous programs, that way you learn from it?
We started designing a platform that was focused on the retail customers, because the plan was to do it in Easy Bank and to do it to cover the retail customers of the group first. And then in the following industrial plan to go and to think how to extend it to the corporate customers. That, of course, brought to some decisions that were a bit simplifying the overall design of the architecture. When the group decided for a set of reasons, to extend it in the first step also to the corporate customers and to corporate business. Of course, we had to review and to rethink the solution and the architecture and also the integration landscape, because a large set of products that initially was not planned to be implemented needed to be extended in the platform. I'm just thinking, for example, to cash pooling, which is a typical corporate product. So, of course, the initial design, that you can call it a mistake or say initial decision, needed to be reviewed, and we had to do it on the way while the journey was in progress. So that has been, I would say, the biggest, you can call it mistake, or at least a decision that we had to change on the path, on the way.
Claudio, how do you think that you are perceived as a leader and as a manager? If I would go and to your offices, put myself next to the coffee machine and ask the people there around what they think of you, what do you think they will say about you when you're not there?
Well, first, they will tell you I'm a storyteller. But one of the things I like to do, and I see that in the company, in the large organization is much appreciated, is to describe the complex things in a way that many people and most of the people can understand. Because, especially if you look in the core IT and you think to architecture, that's a very engineeristic and technical things, the things you manage. So we manage technical things. Of course, if you think your traditional IT language, only IT people will understand. So finding a way and having the ability to describe the things, not simplifying and making it banal, but still keeping the complexity they have, but in a way that everybody can understand in an organization, it's something that is, I think is very positive. And I like a lot to do that. So first, a storyteller from this point of view. Second, I like to allow the people working with me to show, I let everybody in my team to be able to express their point of view also to the leadership. So I don't want to become the interface to the leadership, masking and covering the talents that I have in my team. Third, I'm probably considered also very competent and very strong in the technical skills. Those probably will be the things that you will hear.
And what is it that really drives you in your work? What is it that, and in your personal life, what is the main driver that makes you get up in the morning and start a new big challenge?
I would say two things. First, I love to do difficult things and addressing difficult stuff. I'm usually bored at things that are simple, that are administration, bureaucracy. I'm usually not very happy to address them. Second, and on this, I go back to what I told you at the beginning, I'm very lucky because I do a work that I love. So what I do, the things I manage, the things that that bring challenges to me are things that I like to address. So I think in these 30 years, I never had a day where I went to work, say, off, what boring will be the day of today. That has been is a big luck, because I think that if you have the opportunity and the luck, and sometimes you look for it, of course, by yourself, but to find something that makes you excited of what you do, I think it's a great luck for the life.
And Claudio, if you would not have become head of this program and not had a career in IT, what would have been your other career that you would have built?
Well, honestly, of course, I don't know, because you cannot predict what would have been the future. But I would say two different things, very far one from the other, by the way. So one, I would probably be, I could have been a physics. So I would have studied physics and probably work in the CERN or in some laboratory. Or second, I would have been a guard in a park, in a national park on the mountains in Italy, because I love a lot the alpine environment, the alpine world.
Mhm.
And so it would have been great to stay in that environment to work there.
In the Dolomites?
No, I'm from Torino, so the mountains in my heart are not the Dolomites, but are the Mont Blanc, il Cervino, the Matterhorn, so are more on the west side of the Alps.
So, Claudio, given your 30 years of experience and your leadership in this big program, if another technology leader were to start a similar journey tomorrow, what is the single most important pieces of advice that you would give them?
Well, I would say first, build your strategy on the strengths that your company has, which are coming from the past in terms of transformation, innovation, and experiences. And second, think strategically and be consistent in the execution.
Okay, super. And on that note, Claudio, thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to meeting you soon, face to face. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure for me too. Thank you very much for hosting. Thank you. Have a good day.